friends, welcome back to my channel. It is time for me to do a follow-up on my palettes on the chopping block. If you didn't get a chance to see that video originally, I will link it up in the cards here for you to go ahead and check out, but I'm ready to do a follow-up on what palettes have survived and what palettes are going. So I definitely will say this was challenging for me to balance using these palettes and my Lorac Mega Pro. I really enjoy my Lorac Mega Pro palette and I was finding myself wanting to use it more often, but I just needed to find out if these palettes could stay or not in my collection. So we'll go ahead and start with the one palette that I didn't really get a chance to use, and that is the Revealed Smoky from Coastal Scents. This palette I didn't really get a chance to use because a lot of the shades in here are shades that I will find in my Lorac Mega Pro palette. By the time I was ready to start pulling this out, I just felt so deep into the month that I was like, no, I just want to focus on my Lorac Mega Pro palette. So this one, I still don't have much of a status report to give you. It wasn't intentional, it just kind of happened that way. So this one will live another day until I do another round of this. I have to say, in general, I found this to be really helpful because sometimes with decluttering, I know right away if I like something or don't, or if I'm just like, I never use this, it has to go. But more often than not, I find myself being like, oh, I don't know if I like this color on my face now, or I don't know if this will perform that great. I typically always end up testing a bunch of stuff and then deciding whether or not to get rid of it. And so I felt like this was a very focused way to do that, minus this one palette. Now let's talk about two palettes that are definitely out of my collection. The first is the Maybelline The Nudes palette. I just find these to be very difficult to work with. They are very dried out, like especially the matte. I was like digging into this to try to get enough color to get on my brush to put it onto my eye, and it just wasn't happening for me. And the shades that were creamy and not very dry, like, you know, this particular gold, this shade over here, they just didn't have much of an impact on my eyelid, and so it's just not worth it. I have a lot of colors like this in my collection. This one is not worth the effort, so it is out of here. I'm also getting rid of my Ulta Beauty Rose Gold 12-piece eyeshadow. I just find that the colors in here, while beautiful, are not that impactful. Like, I was literally trying to do my eyes and I was like blending these and it would blend away to nothing. I put some on my lid, it like wasn't giving me as strong of a color as what you were seeing in here. So I just didn't like the performance of this. I also feel like I have other palettes in my collection that have similar beautiful shades like this that aren't as difficult to work with. So unfortunately, this is out of here. The next palette from the chopping block that gave me a run for its money was the Estee Lauder one that I got in a Yankee swap. They call it the Pure Color Envy Sculpting Eyeshadow. I really like these colors. In fact, I was using this right around the time that Urban Decay announced that they were getting rid of, for whatever reason, their Naked palette, and so they had slashed the price everywhere in the US to $27, and I was like, ooh, I really like these colors, and this is really similar to the Naked, but unlike the Urban Decay Naked, I feel like these colors aren't as impactful on your lid as they look in here. Like, the pigment just isn't as strong, and even though I really like these shades and would like to use shades like this, I was like, this isn't the palette to do that. Like, this palette would just be more work than it's worth, but I like the tones a lot. So then I was thinking to myself, like, well, maybe I should just buy the Naked one because I've never owned it. I never thought I would like those shades that much, but then this changed my mind. But as I was digging through my palette collection, I came across the Revealed. I like this palette a lot, and even though it has a ton more shades than the Naked palette does, if you compare it to the like Estee, you can see a lot of the same types of shades in here, and I feel like I'll get a lot of use out of this. So I ended up not purchasing the Urban Decay Naked palette. I also was like a little put off by it because I felt like it was a little gimmicky. Like, I'm gonna be shocked. Maybe I'll eat these words later, but I doubt it. I will be shocked if they don't come back with that as like a throwback collection, or like we reformulated it. Like, I just don't feel like it's actually gone forever. But either way, I'm getting rid of this. Instead, I am much more in love with this particular palette. In fact, I'm not totally opposed to perhaps panning this for the 2019 year, but I'm not sure yet. It's still very up in the air about what palette I will actually want to do for next year. This leaves me to two final palettes that I have from my chopping block. The first is my Lorac Afterglow eyeshadow palette. This palette, I have to say, I really like. I don't feel like the textures of this are as smooth and creamy as a regular Lorac Pro palette, but I do still like the colors that I was using in here. I liked a lot of the looks that I was doing with this. I didn't really explore the brown in here because I have that in my Lorac Mega Pro, and I didn't really explore the purple or teal, but I don't have a ton of those shades in my collection, so I feel like I like this palette enough to let it live another day in my collection. The last one that I have is my e.l.f. Prism eyeshadow in Sunset collection. This one, I like it, but in the end, I am not going to keep it, and here's why. I feel like this has really nice lid shades in here, but they fade throughout the day, and they're not as strong as I want them to be, and you get a little bit of glitter fallout underneath your under eye, which you guys know I have zero tolerance for in my eyeshadow collections, and I just feel like I have enough colors in my collection that can be used as lid shades with my Lorac Mega Pro palette that I don't need to keep a slightly finicky e.l.f. palette in my collection. So even though I don't hate this and wouldn't tell you not to get it, I don't think I need to keep it in my collection. I feel like I was really cutthroat with these palettes in the chopping block, and it was necessary because I have so many palettes in my collection, and I literally just purchased the Jaclyn Hill Vault collection and the Emily Noel, the Wants palette. Like, those were releases that I didn't expect to have happening and that I couldn't resist and really wanted to have in my collection. And so I decided to be really harsh with these palettes, and I feel good about it. Like, I feel good really keeping this palette. Yes, the Revealed Smoky kind of also made it through, but I feel like once I actually try this, I can make a more informed decision on it. So to have narrowed down that whole stack to these two, I'm not mad at it. Like, I think that's pretty good on my part. So I'm happy with this progress. I'd be curious to know on if you were surprised at what I kept or surprised at what I let go, but let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video real soon. Bye.